everyone. I'm Devi, and this is Neela, and this is my YouTube channel. And Neela just wrote an incredible academic paper that is called Presenting the Tantra Yoga. And I want her to talk about it because I'm not an academic, of course, but I love the way she writes. And I know she's an amazing, I hear say professor, and on the feminine. And to me, as many times Neela has been on with us, it's just caused a lot of questions. And I've seen a lot of people really asking things personally to me about Neela. So I'm so excited about this paper, Neela. Welcome. And I love this paper. I just read it and I was like, whoa. So tell me about it because I want to hear it from your own words because I know you're a scholar to me of the feminine and of the work that you've done so much. And like I said, I'm not a scholar. So I love
That's okay.
I love having you on and giving me, because I love research, So for me, the stuff that you do, the research that you do is amazing. And I just want to hear about this paper.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Zephy. I mean, for you to be interested in this academic paper means a lot to me. See, I kind of walk into many different spaces. I play all kinds of roles, like, the Greek persona, we wear different kinds of masks. So
Most of
this
us.
was something that, yeah, in order to live in the world, right? So actually this group that reached out to me, and I did not have time. I was going to travel at that time, and I said I cannot do that because this will require research, but they insisted that I do. So I ended up writing it under a lot of kind of constraint. I was still traveling. And then academic papers take a long time, and it has anonymous reviewers, which was very good for me to critique. But there is always a difficulty between people who practice and live, like you in the world of the feminine, practice, understand the temples, rituals, or those of us who literally grew up with her, took her for granted for such a long time. And then there is the academic world that has, most of them have no knowledge of the actual personal experiences, or they put down, they say, oh, that's just subjective. So anyway, so this is a philosophical paper, Zephy. So I'm presenting Tantra Yoga, but I am presenting it in the context of European thought. So when in the second part of it, when I'm calling it thinking to becoming woman. So the word thinking actually comes from very famous problematic philosopher, German philosopher Heidegger. And becoming woman comes from a French philosopher, two people, Deleuze and Guattari. So this group wanted me to, because it's about eco-humanism. The journal is called Eco-Humanism. So it's basically about ecology, right? The whole world, we have created this incredibly messed up situation where we are destroying the planet. And so there are people who talk about that we need to really reach out to traditional ecological knowledge. They call it TEK, there are all these academic names. Traditional ecological knowledge. Because see, most ancient people, including Europe, by the way, before excessive materialism or atheistic scientism, not real science, that reduced everything to trash, right? European traditions had amazing connection, natural world, and everything that you yourself know. So I am presenting Tantra Yoga, as one of those ways of what I'm calling the psychoecology of planetary regeneration, the second part, that we need to connect our own psyches. Human beings have psyche. Human beings have this mind, which, we use the word mind in English, but in India, the word mind is actually heart mind. It is not separate from feeling. So there is an ecology, right? There is a unitive integrated understanding of it in the traditional world. Shamanic world knows it across every culture. So for planetary regeneration, right? If we have created this impasse, we have created this pollution, garbage. Believe me, when I look at the way we have created garbage, literally my body gets into this. So I'm presenting this Tantra Yoga as one of those traditional ecological knowledge because they were never separate from knowledge, nature. We never thought that we need to conquer nature. We need to, we had to learn how to live with nature with respect. And nature does not just mean, nature with the big N is the entire cosmos.
Exactly.
And the feminine, the divine feminine, whatever name we call the great goddess, mother aspect, all these different aspects, she inhabited that worldview. She is the one where there is no separation between mind and heart or body, sexuality, intellect. There is no separation there. So this is why I thought, presenting Tantra Yoga as ways to really connect ourselves back or recognize that we're never separate anyway.
That's true, because
Yeah.
we forgot how to connect the heart and the mind. That is
Right.
the biggest key right now. It's like, I think, yes, we're talking about ecological and we're talking about the world and we're talking that, we need to change the environment and because it's shifting, but we done it because the separation, and the separation to me is the biggest thing. And right now, this is exactly what's happening. I think people trying to discover that connection.
Right.
And I'm getting chills as I'm telling you this. So to me, that paper meant a lot to me because we trying to come together again, the mind and the heart.
Right.
Before, like 5 years ago in the spiritual path, we said we needed a bridge between the heart and the mind. But I think now that bridge is leaving and the connection is happening. We don't need a bridge anymore,
Right.
we just
Right.
need to feel it. If we feel it, but we had to get there. We had to get there through the bridge of the heart and
Yes.
the mind. And that's why what you wrote, to me, it was amazing because now it's happening. Now we're discovering our heart. Now we're
Yes.
discovering the mind that is not separate from the heart. And the
Right.
mind is destroying everything. I mean, think
Yes.
about it. It's
Right.
destroying everything.
Right. Right.
And to me, that's, like, it's chilling. It's hard. It's hard to accept,
Right. Right. Absolutely. Because we ended up, we call it patriarchy, which of course men and women are both part of. But what patriarchy really means is giving excessive importance to the head part. And by head, I don't mean the physical, which is also body. Head is not something, but the mind, that this excessive thinking. So this is what the paper, from thinking to becoming woman, right? So this excessive thinking, which is unconscious thinking.
Exactly.
Even when we are using science, we are using it all kinds of terrible ways. We are creating horrible weapons. We are creating plastic. It's all misuse of our mind because we separated it from the heart. From what we thought that emotions are feminine, emotions are weak, really strength, kind of macho stuff is all, and women fell for it too.
Of course.
Right? So
That's the
suppressing,
biggest problem, that we
yes,
fell for it. We all fell
exactly.
for it as women. Yeah.
Right, right, right. Because we thought that we need to be, because the understanding of power as power over or feeling like, okay, I'm in control, which is very different from the notion of Shakti, by the way.
Exactly.
Because Shakti is power, force, energy, but it is not about, control mechanism. It's about this organic flowering of life, you know it's this, and this is the amazing thing in India, that Shakti, which people think power is masculine, in India Shakti is feminine. And if you're not recognizing the Shakti and Shiva are one, which Shiva is consciousness there. I also gave a talk about masculinity the other day. So Tantra actually has devised that incredible methodology, as you yourself know, to really uh, come to our bodies, the fullness of our bodies, through somatic practices, through not trying to deny, things that we think are negative. More we think like sexuality is bad, this and that, more we fall into the traps, right? So, so how do we recognize that we are not separate from nature? We are nature. How do we realize that in our fragile bodies is the magic of regeneration, of planetary regeneration? We don't need to go do some crazy things. You know, it is so
Shift the
simple.
mind a little bit. This is a little nudge
Yep.
to the mind,
Yep.
you know, to
Yeah.
shift it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I was feeling the other day something about an old knowledge that it could be a little bit, it's before Atlantis and it's Lemuria. And back then, a lot of us have felt, and people have written in books, that the body was one, the masculine, the feminine was one. And I know
Right.
you know that. And
Mm.
now, back then, we did not really need all these other things to get there. Like we didn't even need Tantra, yoga Tantra to get there.
Right.
You know, we
Right.
used to be there.
Right.
So with a practice of Tantra yoga, we get there. You know, it's
Right.
part of balancing the masculine and feminine within our bodies. And that's why, you know, what you wrote is amazing to me, because that is the union that we need to get again.
Yes.
We need to
Yes.
have, we cannot have the Lemurian body, but we have this body right now. So let's just balance the masculine and feminine, you know,
Right.
within ourselves.
Right. 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 So see, since Tantra does not see things, whatever has happened is part of our evolutionary journey
Of course.
together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, for whatever reasons, the cosmos that wanted to express itself through our expansive mind, which in India we call Brahman, right? This
Mm-hmm.
expansion. But there is actually in Yoga Tantra, there is also the opposite of it, contraction. You don't just keep expanding, you also come back to the source,
Yeah.
which is the void, which is that shunyata, which is the great mother's womb. So this is what we have forgotten, that in order for this expansion is seen as masculine, prakasha, light, we think it's all about light. But we won't have light without darkness. If we don't go to sleep, you know, a beautiful day will be terrible,
Exactly.
right? So the everyday, so this is the thing I learned from my guru, how simple it is. And of course, it's at the same time very difficult because it's a process. So I really, bow to my gurus, my Siddhama, who gave me the first experience, which I had no clue, and then my, Guru Kulavatuta Satpurananda. So even this natural rhythm, right, of going to sleep and waking up,
Yes.
it has that rhythm. It has the rhythm of the yin and the yang, the male and the female. Doesn't matter what you call, different cultures may put different things, but it is this beautiful rhythm, right? Since we have, and again, we invented this kind of light, so we forgot the natural. Because see, what we say that at a time when we didn't have artificial light, right? So we will the work, there is a natural rhythm when there is no, okay, so you go to sleep and then
Yeah,
you
when
wake
the
up
sun
with the
goes
light.
down. When the sun goes down.
Exactly.
Sleep,
It
you
goes
know.
up. All agricultural communities or people all over the world, before we created these, that's how people lived. But
Mm-hmm.
then I have to give this thing that we have created, even this technology, there are good things about everything and bad things about everything. That's also part of that balance. If we don't call it totally bad or totally good, right? Okay, there's nothing but good and there's nothing but bad, then we can create this beautiful balance. Unfortunately, because we put down the feminine so much, that we lost it completely. It's
Yes.
like nothing but hard reason, which is not even reason. which is stupidity. We think it is, very hard reason, bottom line, money, everywhere. That is what is most important. While we're losing our mental health, I teach students, since I teach 4 writing classes, students, young people suffering so much,
I know.
right in the middle of plenty, right? So we live in the supposedly the wealthiest, most powerful country in the world, in the United States. And this particular way of living has been spread everywhere,
Yes.
right? So then, I mean, I cannot watch videos, even though I'm teaching food matters, and I start my class with a video called Taste the Waste. The amount of waste, the food, and my students are shocked when they watch it. At the end, when the punchline comes, that the food that Europeans and Americans waste can feed the world's all hungry people 3 times over.
Exactly. I agree with you. I
You
agree.
know, clothing goes to, and we are interconnected. Our behavior affects the whole world. So if we think about planetary regeneration, we have to come to ourselves. And what is this becoming woman in the paper? Becoming woman, because Tantra venerates the feminine. And Tantra venerates the feminine in its integral aspect. People, I don't know whether people know this, but in India, even though everybody knows about India, it's all about caste.
Yeah.
But technically, women have no caste. All right. And in traditional India, every woman's last name was Devi. Like
Exactly.
you are Zefi Shakti Mai Devi, because it was understood that she already has it, because she connects with the womb of the great mother. Whether she gives birth or not is irrelevant. It is
Exactly.
not about physically giving birth. It is about that this is how Tantra sees it. And that is why it values both men and women equally. There is radical equality in Tantra Yoga. That's one thing. But that it venerates, that everybody must venerate the feminine. The woman has to do that, to the feminine understanding. Men have to bow to every female creature. It's an incredible requirement, right?
It is. I lived it,
Right,
on the
right.
corner.
Yep. You are an initiated yogini from Kamakya, which is just like people do not realize what an incredible tradition that is.
Oh,
Just think about it. To venerate the female body, the generative capacity, and make that the most sacred spot, you know? So there are magical things in Tantra Yoga. But the trouble is that because it topples all hierarchies, right? In India, it'll topple the Brahminical hierarchy, superiority of men or Brahmin caste. It just literally brings back the ones who are at the very bottom, the untouchable. The greatest, most famous Mahasiddhas in Bengal, they came from the untouchable caste,
exactly.
which is not even a caste because they're thrown out of it. So, so it is very radical. It is very, very radical in many ways, and that's why it was suppressed or also misused, because it's also about understanding power. It's also understanding that the Shakti is woman, and men have to invoke and develop that Shakti. So I mean, I am barely a novice disciple, Zephi, and I'm learning very slowly, in painstaking ways. But every time I hear the masters, and there are so many great, great masters, I am just blown away.
I agree with you. I agree.
Yeah.
It's such a
So,
secret by sacred knowledge at the
right,
same time. I every time, I know yoginis that are from the untouchables, It's not
mm,
just in Kamakya, but other
right,
places like in Nepal and places like that. I mean,
right,
it's not a caste, but
right.
and they have so much knowledge and so
Yeah,
much Wisdom, that's the best way to call it. It's deep wisdom. They have done their work, and of
Right.
course it's probably from a previous lifetimes, but they
Yes.
also remembered. But
Right.
it's just, you sit there and you go, ah, you're in awe of the
Right.
knowledge and the wisdom that comes out of these people, and they're emanated. It's not
Yes.
just speaking, because I don't speak Hindi at all, but just
Hmm.
the emanation being next to them, just in that space, is just
Right.
powerful.
Right. Right.
Oh,
Right.
wow. Yeah.
And in the paper, since I look at, the Western world, which goes back to the Greek world,
Mm-hmm.
so you are Greek. See, the Greek world was also misunderstood. So here, actually, this Heidegger, this philosopher, invokes the ancient goddess Mnemosyne, and he says that when we threw out, actually, the Greek world was full of all these powerful goddesses, right? That we threw out this thing, this memory of being one, which Greek words uses the word anamnesis, which is Sanskrit pratyabhikya. That means simply remembering. And the word remembering also means putting pieces that are scattered, bring them back. Dismembering, like cutting, and remembering, putting it back together. So absolutely, these yoginis that you're talking about, they remember, they put things together. Because after all, we are all part of this cosmic drama that is going on. So yeah,
Yeah.
every tradition has it.
Yeah, you're right. And the Greeks have it too. And being
Yeah.
here in Greece, I'm discovering and learning more about it. And even in Egypt, the
Hmm.
Tantra existed, but it was in a different way. They didn't call
Right.
it Tantra. So
Right.
I'm really researching and discovering all that, which is really amazing, by moving back here. And I think that's the
Yes.
reason, because, as the energy needs to move everywhere, it's
Hmm.
kind of like we're coming to places, and we get guided to be to places that this energy is getting reawakened finally.
Right.
And I
Right.
think I feel very, very happy that I'm in Europe, because it's a
Hmm.
knowledge that has been lost, and I feel
Yes.
like, I'm here to kind of help this reawaken, if I want to pull it out, talk about it. And of course there will be, more stuff to talk about, but this balance is about time for us to find it within ourselves, as you said,
Right.
and
Right.
to really understand that we got the power, both males
Hmm.
and females, within us,
Right.
as long as
Right.
the heart and the mind correct connects.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And there are a lot of men with great heart, you
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of women that you want to totally run away from. So so it is not just this thing. Yes, see, the thing is, since I traveled so much in Europe, actually the land remembers
Yes.
the energy. This is why, even my recent journey that we talked about, in France and all over Europe, it is only when I traveled there and I sensed it. Now see, since I was an academic, I couldn't talk about these things at that time, or what I'm sensing. And now I don't care. I said, listen, if you wanna publish stuff, if you want me to write stuff, I don't need to write, I don't need to publish anything. I'm happy doing what I'm doing.
Yeah,
But then I
exactly.
have to talk about my experiences. And I felt that as I traveled in Europe, because the land contains that energy,
Yep.
you know? So when people like you show up there, you just, help regenerate and, recognize.
And it's interesting, I have to say that, but I talked about it already in my previous video, um,
Hmm.
that is coming on. But it was that I waited for 2 years to find a house, correct? And
Mm-hmm.
my house is on the sacred triangle that
Ah.
connects this island
Mm-hmm.
to Delphi,
Wow.
okay, and to Sunil, which is
Ah.
the god Neptune, which is
Mm-hmm.
Poseidon, the
Mm-hmm.
god Apollo and Athena in Delphi,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
also Artemis, Athena here in this island.
Oh my goodness.
And on top of that is also makes another sacred triangle to Eleusis,
Mm-hmm.
which is Persephone.
Ah.
So it's kind of interesting. I waited so long to get a house, and they find
Yes.
me the house right on the sacred triangle.
Unbelievable. This is what synchronicity means. Things like when you align,
Yeah.
the outer and inner, they all align together.
And being on the sacred triangle is the land. The land
Yes.
remembers me, called me, and said, okay, you can be disappointed for 2 years that I'm not going to get you a house, but you got to wait for this one, you know?
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's really amazing. It's really
Right.
amazing. It's very powerful.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
This is the thing about being patient.
yeah,
Things, because we are in such hurry. Everything is like when in such a hurry, but things reveal themselves in their own time.
yes, it did.
So
And
I'm so happy.
yeah, me too. So you're more than welcome to come and visit. Please, please, when
I
you're,
would love that, Zephy. Let's see. Let's see
please
when
come
that
and visit.
happens.
Yeah,
I will
next
do
time
that.
you're up, you got to stop in Greece because we got a lot to discover here. And,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
your knowledge,
Yes.
your wisdom, and your energy is what, you know, a lot of us need. And thank you for
Well, thank you, Zephy. We are all doing our own thing wherever we are placed with different things. And those different things, because we are different. And that's the fun of the great goddess, makes everything diverse,
yes,
beautiful, and yet connected.
absolutely. And you know, like I said, I love research, and I
Yeah.
think that's the balance also, to bring the research with the experience together,
Right.
instead of being
Exactly.
research, you know.
Right.
And
Right.
and I am a researcher. I'm just not an academic, but in the sense that I got, you know, I haven't written papers or anything like that. That's what I mean.
Oh,
But
you don't have to.
I don't, because
You don't
you're
have
right
to.
here with me and we can talk
Yes.
about it. So
Yes.
nothing,
Yes.
we don't really need anything because everything is
Yes.
inside of us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Everything
Yeah.
is inside of us. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Neela, for another exciting topic.
Thank you. Thank you, Zephy, for giving me this space, So I'm really grateful to be able to talk about all kinds of different things.
Me too. And I'm so
Uh,
glad that you so said, yes, I can talk about it.
yes.
That's the openness that we have to share and
Yes.
be with
Yes.
each other, because we also creating a triangle, you know. You never know.
We never know. We never know. Yeah.
You never know what we're creating out there with us.
Yes.
So
Yes.
thank you again. And thanks
Okay.
everybody. And just stay on for the next energy of the week. Take care.
Okay. All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you.